Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the OG's Power Hour. We've got John and Dale. We're still waiting for Tony. And John's just getting ready to do his push-ups. I figured we'd start a little bit early today, and we're going to run the intro, and then we'll come back to John doing his push-ups. And there's John. We caught him doing a good hit there, and his alarm's just about to go off. And we got to remind him, Dale, to make sure that he doesn't forget to post his push-ups this morning.
Yes.
Push up. Keep it going.
John's heading for Peak State, right?
Peak State for the win. Keep it going. And I'm on the phone in a meeting with Cheryl.
All right. John's always busy. Like you yes. Check out his jersey, you guys. It's 420. There we go.
Off, as you can see.
Yeah.
You know what? It's called Peak State. Okay. Dab X on the go. And then the new one is, you ready for it? Peak State! Yeah! Woo! Let's do this! It's all about the biology!
You know it is.
If you guys
were right.
Mills pays the bills with Johnny B.
Yeah. Love it, man. Love it. Okay,
so I get
John, you focus on posting your push-ups and let Dale and me talk. Well, and when you're done, you come back on, okay?
I love you guys. Cheryl, you still there?
Okay, Dale. I'm going to mute you, John, so you talk and Dale and I will talk. Okay, so go. Dale,
yes,
how did you find Grow Up, man? John was there. You and I were both there. We had a fantastic event. So give us your opinion on the 420, or on Grow Up, I should say.
You know something, brother? It was one of the most exceptional conventions and conferences that I've been to. You know, all the greatest people, well, not all, but a vast majority of the greatest people in the cannabis industry were involved in this, participated, attended. You know, I met a lot of old friends, a lot of new friends. The information provided and shared amongst everyone was so absolutely incredible. You know, every time I turned around, there was something new to learn. And, you know, when you've been in the industry as long as I have, and you find things that you don't know about, it's like finding that treasure. So, you know, it takes all your concentration to listen to this, because this is new. This to me. Maybe not to them, maybe not to some others, but to me, this was new. And it created an extreme excitement for me. Although information input was at its greatest level, I still managed to retain quite a bit of it. Good morning, Toad.
Good morning, guys. Sorry, I was helping my mom. I missed it. Couldn't get on any quicker.
That's no worries, brother. Hey, mom's more important than anything else, man.
Yeah, I was doing her breakfast for her.
Cool.
You know, I didn't get as much time as I wanted to with those I wanted to speak to greatly, but I tried to spend at least some time with everyone, even with John himself there. I tried to spend a little bit of time with him, but he's just as busy as I am when we were there. So, you know, things such as that, you get down to the networking of it. I was able to network with as many as I could, come up with, you know, such a wealth of information that I'm going to be sharing quite a bit of it with everyone on here as the days progress, and bringing a lot of people in to interview and speak about what they have going on. This way here, we all can understand what is going on out there, right from the stigma of cannabis to the latest creations and inventions. It's so vast, and I'm sure everyone's gonna love it. I'm sure everyone's gonna love it.
Right on, Samuel from Guana, West Africa in the house. Thank you for joining the OG's Power Hour. And that's one of the things, like at a networking event like the Grow Up, there's so many new things that are coming out, whether it's in packaging, whether it's in growing, the different technologies, are all gathered into one space. I know I want to apologize, guys, for Sunday. We had a little bit of a glitch, and we couldn't live stream Sunday, and we tried to record it, and my audio didn't work out. So Dale has a lot of stuff we're going to be redoing and recapturing a lot of the interviews that we were doing there. There was just some amazing people there, and everybody just loving to talk and share and join in as a community. And I think that's the biggest thing we have to really understand. We're a global community. Like John left there, he headed to Ontario, went to Lyft, and there was so much more there as well. But like Dale was saying, he's going to be doing interviews with a lot of the people that he met there, and I'm going to be trying to do a bunch as well and bringing them on to this channel. And we've got some other shows. People have been reaching out and cheers. I grew some. Benny Bean. People are reaching out that want to do shows on our network now to bring you guys more and more information and understanding. And like Tony, he's been breeding for so many decades, and Dale and John, and it's that knowledge and that sharing, and it is a huge family environment that we're trying to create for all you guys as well. So Tony, what were you smoking on there, man? You were hacking away. It sounded like it must be some good stuff. Oh, you're muted, bro.
See here, what is this? Let's see if I can read the fucking lid of it. Gas Hill Farms. I don't remember which one this is. I've got a few of them. I just got a new banger, so I'm going to be trying some of the Motor Breath 15 and some of the Umami. These are nice. This one's fucking strong right here, man.
Ooh, nice.
Super clean. This Motor Breath 15, I love Motor Breath. I use the Motor Breath 4 in some of my work. This one comes straight from Archive. This stuff is quite stable. Like you can play with this one if you wanted to.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Both of them extremely strong. Terps are loud on both of them. So I just got my brand new banger in with the mushroom cap because my other one's broke. So we're breaking her in.
Well, actually, speaking of new glass, Dale, why don't you reach over and show that new glass that showed up at your place? Because that looks like some amazing stuff. Let's bring it up big screen there. Take a look at that, Toad.
Hell yeah. That is thick. That's some thick glass there on the bottom, man. For real. That's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't that something?
Take some lungs to yank that sucker, though, I bet.
Actually, no.
No?
No. Yeah, I'm
Damn.
not a big bong guy, but this thing flows beautifully. It seems to, well, it does its job very well.
Right on. Great design, then. A lot of times you get bongs like that, and it's hard to clear them. If that clears well, that's a work of art for sure. Not just on the way that it looks, but on the way it functions.
And thick, old school glass, super thick.
Yep.
Pembama, I think it's on your end. I think everybody else can hear us just fine. So I'd say check your sound settings, Pembama. But yeah, it's that glass. Like I know that when I was at the Mums Cup in BC, one of the glass blowers brought some medical glass, and he made a spring out of it, and like you could stretch it out, and it just wouldn't break. It was just that thick, right?
Yeah, I had a bong I dropped on the pavement from 3 feet 3 times. That thing would not break either out of glass. So thick. It was
Yeah.
made by an artist up in Oregon named D. Lee. I had that thing for like 12 years.
Yeah. Well, I know that I just broke my banger here a couple of weeks ago, and I know that Dale broke his, and that's this is kind of a replacement somebody brought over for him. But glass, you know, a lot of it is so fragile. The guys aren't using the medical grade glass. But I named this show, you know, the OGs are changing the world, you know, with what we're doing and what we're bringing to you guys. And I want to just focus on that. Like, let's start with Tony and the seed strains that you're bringing out to help medical patients. What are some of the new things you're working on, and what direction are you going towards for helping people that have medical problems?
Oh man, all my Mudbone stuff is designed, and I bred that years ago when I worked in the clubs.
Mm-hmm.
I had 4,400 members, and through that 4,400 members, I used to select folks that were they all had similar things wrong with them. Right, if someone had seizures, I would try to put in a group of people that had seizures. If someone with MS, I would try to find them with other people with neurological diseases, brain injuries, cancers. And then I would ask them through consultation, like what kind of herb did they believe they were using that they thought might be working for them, right? Or was it just whatever? Because some people were just smoking whatever they get because of the price of cannabis at that time. So I started pumping through. I had the ability to run cuts. I kept 176 moms, and I could put plants in anybody's garden at any moment to see what the outcome would be, and I did that. So I would grow herb, put it into these people's hands. They would come back with only information, like which one worked, which one didn't. I never told them what it was. I just gave them what I thought was going to work because I'm trying to figure out cannabis and not just each person separately. I wanted to try to tie it to different ailments, even though each one of us has our own chemical makeup. It was easier for me to start at a baseline of the ailment and then from there work my way into each person that was different in the group, because you would find that you'd find people that were into heavy narcotic style Afghani herb like Bubba Kush and like the Oregon Afghani, or like some of the purple Afghanis that were out there, and those really worked well for some folks. Or you would end up with like 1 out of 10 people that would come back and tell me that they were on the other side of that spectrum, different plants that they wanted to use. So through that, I created a line called Mudbone. It's a bubble crossed to my Angel, and the Angel has LA Confidential in it, and OG18 and Romulan. For me, it was a highly medicinal plant, and the combination gave me great breeding plants, my Space Kush line. And I used that line to cross into the Bubba to make Mudbone. Mudbone is what I use for the most pain relieving plant I have, period. It helps with so many different things for folks: eating, sleeping, pain relief. It's not a plant that's going to make you want to go do a bunch of shit. It's not going to wake you up in the morning, but it will help put you to sleep at night, so that in the morning you'll have more energy to do some of those things that you couldn't do before. Like guava 2 times a Z, 90,
Strawberry
120,
guava.
live version. Yeah.
I told this guy when I got home. I tried it in the bathroom at the hotel room. It's fucking fire.
So Tony's been breeding for medical patients. Dale's been breeding for medical patients. John, you've been breeding, like, you know, for your own medical reasons and for other people to help them, and just to get wonderful strains out there. You know, where are you focusing going forward? Like, we're talking about changing the world. The OGs are changing the world. So where are you going, bro, with, you know, 420 Live, etc.? So tell us how we're changing the world with Johnny B.
Around the world the green way, something I said over a couple decades ago, and about taking cannabis around the world, holistic healing, natural health, and cannabinoid therapy, and really looking at where we are in today's existence of time. We're 5 years in of legalization in Canada. This is the next shift, guys. The real education of the purpose, the why and the what. They was worried about the how before. I never really worried about the how. Don't get caught in the tyranny of how, because you're gonna be stuck there for a long time. People ask why I do things. It's the what and the why. Everything always seems to figure it out. What we're looking at in the meeting I've been having, and one I just got off the phone with, and what's going on is really what's really cool is Haley hasn't had a hypoglycemic event since like 4 months, and this is this new therapy we're looking at. What I keep talking about. So being able to compile a dream team over the last 8 days of doing the events from Grow Up to Lift, both events were fantastic. And they both served a purpose for where they were at that time and the industry that they were serving. So it was really good to see of how there is a shift. And I took down tons of notes at both events, guys. Like everybody knows I'm a note taker now. I write down, and I started seeing some comments. I started seeing some things that people been looking at. Stuff that we've been talking about now for me over a decade. But now that we're getting to a point where a team of people are collaborating, coming together, and starting to see a commonality of where we are in legalization, looking at the world, where we can get kind of like out of the old and into this new awesomeness. You know what I'm talking about right now? We got freedom right now, guys. We got freedom to talk and speak and become really educate people on this planet. They've stopped education. Mr. Cole has been breeding and doing all this education and learning different strains for his conditions, not only his, but for others. That education on those strains, their medicinal values, we're not talking about them, but we talk about them here. But that's time to change, because we got to talk about it at doing events. We got to talk about this in public. We got to talk about this sitting at the coffee table. It's got to become a norm. I walk into into an old diner. I see pictures of Marilyn Monroe and all these old legends. Why am I not going into these clubs and seeing pictures of Jack Revere or Franco or Frenchie Cannoli or Michelle Rainey?
Or these John Berfelo.
I'm not there yet. But you know what we're saying is really recognizing, and now there's some comment. That's just one of these golden little gems that have been stocked on top of me, and I'm writing down the team. Where are the key things of what we're doing? We have event planning. We have a whole the microgreen thing I've been talking about. You guys are now going to know is blowing up. We have testing results. We got more stuff coming in for UBC on this Thursday through the doctors. We have funding coming in. This is this next shift.
Yeah.
We're starting to get
knowledge and understanding. We need to have that to move forward. And like having you do this, brother, is amazing.
It's why I envision we see. Future pace yourself. Like I did with you, Ken. We future paced exactly where you are right now, where you're going with Showrun, right? Mr. Toe, you future pace yourself. I know we got a probably 520-pound joint coming down the road one day. What? I mean, there's so many things we future paced and going, and I see this industry moving forward. I've always seen it moving forward. I see the growth happening. I see the people understanding. So as little events start popping up, these bigger events, we have the corporate events that are going around the world. There's some touch bases in Germany, looking at Brussels. You're looking at Thailand. We're looking at Spain. We're looking at Scotland. All of these places are slowly changing and opening up. So this shift is coming into play because we got to start working more about what the plant's doing for us, because AI is coming in, and there's ways of being able to understand a lot of this information, and tools are allowing us to actually do more research than we ever have before. It's beautiful. And like some of these tools that I'm using now, I'm like, wow, this is got a lot of information. So you're going to start seeing on the websites of information on terpene modulations and all the things I've been talking about. My staff is putting together this awesome slideshow for you guys and some stuff that I put together. It's the next phase of really being able to educate and understand.
Yeah. And like Lily is saying,
now they can't stop the education. Before they blocked us. There's no blocking what's here for us to actually truly see and where we're going with this. understand we are the largest ecosystem in the world. We are more powerful. And I'll say this again, when people would be like, John, you're right. I'm not right. We're right.
Yeah.
Understand. And I've said this before, and I love saying it. I get to say it every show. It feels like it's like, yeah, I get to say this all the time. The biggest industries in the world are the Catholic Church and the Hells Angels. Right? They're the ones who lead successors. Nah, the cannabis industry is much more bigger, much more vast. Because like the Catholic Church, we're everywhere. We're in every religion. We're in every country, but and they're not in every religion. Cannabis is in every religion. We're in every country. HA in every country. They can't get their bikes in some of those countries. They get taken away. Just kidding. Laugh. Haha, come on. But the cannabis community is in every industry. It's in every community. It's in every race. It's in every religion. It's in every age group. From when you first come out of the womb, you're having mother's milk, which you're in a cannabinoid system, all the way through get older. It can help you in every direction. When you're older to the day you die, you can use cannabinoids. So it's in every age bracket. It is the largest ecosystem in the world. It's got more power than you could possibly imagine. The energy that we fight more for cannabis than we do for world peace.
Yeah.
Makes you really wonder. And then we start talking about water activity, and everybody's talking about standardizing and looking at cannabis standardization and how to come together. And I keep saying this after they did the surgery and they took the C4 or the C5. Everybody knows my story. And said we had to save the terps and understand that water and keeping things fresh and understanding water activity in our cannabis. And then they were saying certain things, and I came up with a grading system. You're going to love this. See what you guys resonate on this. So the world is set by water activity, an AW standard. Water activity is the amount of moisture inside of a container that keeps things fresh and doesn't allow it to grow mold. And there's certain standards throughout the world that they set an AW for everything that you take, from your food that it sits on a steak and the piece of plate goes on top of it. Underneath that, there's a little pack underneath there from Desiccare that actually moisture right away. To in your luggage, there's a moisture little pack so the luggage doesn't go bad or anything like that. To your guitar case, it has a certain moisture level so the wood doesn't crack. They're all standards to your cigars to keep those perfect, $1,000 cigars fresh. But yet, we don't want to use it in our cheap cannabis because it takes the terps out. Thank you. You go, oh, it sucks the terps out. I'm like, oh my God, here we go again.
Yeah.
There's nothing to do with that, right, guys? It really comes down to looking at how water flows. And water flows in so many different ways. There's three options with water in the world. There's relative humidity, there's moisture content, and the water. And there's three options. Health, when you legalize it, say keep it dry. They didn't give them options. People didn't understand it. And then when I talk to people like, oh, I thought it was just moisture. No. The water comes three different ways. Remember, three options gives choice. One option is no choice. Two options is a dilemma. Three options give true choice.
Yeah.
All of you guys, you've all smoked some dry ass weed and not rolling paper that doesn't roll. Try to roll it. Anybody? Won't roll because the weed falls out of the end because it's so fucking dry. Excuse my language.
Powder.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But it works in the pipe or a vapor. Isn't that stuff great in a vaporizer? Volcano just kills it. That AW, guys, I could tell you, is always between like 38 to 45.
What about water mold?
Grade C. You're talking, water mold and where?
Well, you're talking about how well it preserves in water, keeping mold away. There's a mold that grows actually in water.
Well, of course, there's gonna be a mold that will grow in water. I don't know. Hey, Google, what mold grows in water?
It's called Umacoda.
Umacoda. Never heard of that one.
Yeah.
And Google's talking to John.
It's one of the only ones, but it's
Yeah, I can find it out right now.
Must have nutrients in it, of course, but yeah.
Compound body of
Very common.
There you go. So we got two organisms in water. I should know that. Thank you for allowing me to.
No problem, man.
So commons include ACH Lya, Athelia. I just know English. I can't pronounce it. Just really be really good about this because these words they don't understand me. Water moles are minute organisms, little minute organisms.
Mm-hmm.
So right now, we're looking at water activity. We're setting a standard.
Mm-hmm.
So bone dry weed doesn't have any water in it. So I'm not looking at having any micro. That was open for that. Maybe we get higher over the 65. That's why they have an AW standard. It's got to be below 65 for probably these particular reasons. Because this is a world standard, guys. This is the world standard when it comes to water activity. So that's what we're looking at right now. So I always say that bone ass weed that burns your throat doesn't roll. That's the AW on it. You know the weed that burns really fast, the one that you're going to work, you don't want it to burn for 25 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
That AW is now about 46 to 55. Seeing it quite consistently because I have a box of it sitting over there. And I've been testing this for the last years and years and seeing a common. And that weed that burns perfectly, that rolls really good in a joint, burns nice and smooth. It's consistently AWs between 58 to 63, 64, 55. It's a little lower. It's still in that little range of it's coming out the end. All three of those burn differently in your throat because you can recall when that's bone dry hurts really bad.
Yeah, I can't smoke it myself.
There you go. You can't smoke it. I got a friend that's all he actually cuts out my perfect weed and lets it bone dry. So he can put it in his vaporizer because he doesn't like his vaporizer with wet weed. And everybody likes it that way. But that medium quick joint, because I'm on my way to work or something, I just want to split the quick fatty and it tastes really good. It's terpy. It gets me high. It's nice. That's the 50 range, 50 to 55. I see this quite consistently. Like say I got a box of it. And that joint that burns really fresh and nice is always about 56 to about the 63.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm seeing a pattern of A for 1. You can do this with all strains now. So now you just have an AW rating when it goes into the bag, and you know it's A, B, or C. And people now, consumers can rate what they are looking at. They want some drier weed, or really moist and sticky, or do they want the cheaper stuff? You can even price those differently by the way it's graded or the way it's trimmed. You just set a world standard on how we can grade cannabis through water activity. That's what I'm bringing to plate. That's what I'm going to bring to the World Health Organization. I'm going to write a whole project on that. And that's my hallucination to be able to set a standard around the world for cannabis once it legalizes is through water activity. And this is going to happen. This is where I can see it. It's the best way of being able to give a product to people. Now you have choice. Right now they say dry cannabis. We got no choice. We're just buying whatever we get on the damn shelf. I just gave you guys an option. You can get A, B, or C, 1, 2, 3. It's set on an AW. We know exactly what we're all talking about. We can all, and once we find that standard that I will present, because I've already found it, I've been doing it for so long, I'm writing about it. And this is what these events have brought to me because everybody was asking, everybody needed something. Everybody had a need. Everybody's looking a way of how to, what do they need? They need education. They need to be able to test their products before they go to market and not spend $2 or $3 million on a strain and because they can't test it and it comes to market and people don't want it. They need Canadians to have full access.
Yeah.
Right?
Everybody needs that little bit different. Like if you're using a bong, you go.
So now I just gave you full access. A bong is going to burn at this level.
Yeah.
And I have agreements. This is me presenting it live here, and I've been talking about it for the last couple of days and writing about it and collecting with certain people with data. But this is going to be a good way to be able to present this to everybody. It's not about us. It's about everybody can then identify. Could you identify that, Dale? Anybody here not identified through an AW standard? Do you think that's a bad idea, or what do you think?
Actually, I think that's quite genius myself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, anything that can provide any kind of information to somebody that pertains to their situation is absolutely crucial.
It's a way of being able to give value to the product for each individual LP or each individual seller or owner of the company. I'm giving access to information for everybody. It's a win-win for everybody. I'm patting myself on the back about doing this because we've all done this together. It wasn't just me. Can you guys all put your hands on your back? Because I couldn't do this without you. You guys all gave me this. We were into biology. Kelly and Josh, Leighton Morrison, meetings with Leighton, Kevin Joffrey. You were there, Ken. You saw the meetings I had. You saw the meetings I had with John from the lab guy. And when I went into Lift, I had 3 meetings there with these younger guys. Fantastic. I had Josh from TB Naturals. He's all natural. And where he's in his 33 different countries and his ability to has his reach. And we're looking at products and not product in order to bring education to present to the world on how we can set a standard for people to enjoy cannabis. And really, you guys, I just want to say thank you and appreciate you so much for being able to really be able to be part of this, because feel like this is the reason why I'm here.
This is taking it to the next level, John. And thank you for doing what you're doing and understanding and going through years of research. Because I know you've got bovita packs and some weed in your basement.
Regulation,
10 years.
But I've been saying it for decades. People don't understand it. Salt and water, it does not take away nothing. We are. Now, here's the best thing about water, guys. And we're going to really get into water and talk about water activity, because what we really are is we're a lot of water. Did you know that your heart is 71% water? Mm-hmm. Your brain is 73% water. So when you're not thinking properly, you gotta.
John, is that you beeping? Because that one annoys the people with headsets.
Yeah, I tell people not to message me, for some reason they just love to do that. So
like I know we had Gerald Pollock. He's on the cutting edge of water research. We had him on the Soil Matters here a couple of weeks ago, and the knowledge of water is so much more than we ever thought.
Water is pretty amazing. So when your brain got fogged, have some water. I'll have a glass of water there. Tastes good, guys.
Mm-hmm.
When you get a little fatigued, your muscles and your tendons are 78% water. You can Google this stuff, guys. Your lungs, you can't breathe. Have a glass of water. 84% water.
Yeah.
Your skin looks a little dry. 63% water. 63%. Your bones are straight out 31% water. The world, 84% water. Water's flow. Water is the energy. Water is what makes us drive. It's what makes us grow. It makes us survive. And water activity is a world standard from almost any product that's on the market, and we already have that. So why isn't there a set standard for water activity for a plant that grows and thrives and gives us energy every day? And if we set a world standard by putting a water activity standard to the water that we drink and that's in our bodies, you understand what water is all about. Now you're getting it's about the water activity. This is keep it simple. We're trying to complicate things. We got to keep it simple. I'm gonna go
now,
and say.
I want to point this out from Silly Lily here. You need a pinch of sea salt in your drinking water in order for your cells to uptake it. That's one of the keys, guys. You know, just straight water, your body has a hard time actually drawing it into the cells. Where if you add that little bit of salt in your water, it actually helps the water molecules move in through the cell walls and hydrate you properly. Now, John just ran off. Maybe we can get into this question. Does anyone use a Canatrol dry and cure? I've never even heard of a Canatrol. Guys?
Say it again.
A Canatrol?
Canatrol, it looks like kind of like a wine fridge. It maintains humidity and air movement in there, and I believe it's also using like freeze drying techniques to fucking dry your weed.
Okay.
So the staff is now going to message between themselves and through the open channel that I get to hear.
Okay, yeah, because that tinging really gets the guys that are using earbuds, man.
So here we go, guys. It's lots of good notes what we can do, and really the education is the key, Ken. And we've been talking about this in the biology and taking it across. We're gonna do some one-day events, and they're gonna operate in between, like the lift and the grow up. It's already created.
Well, good. Just sign me up, brother. I'm ready to roll down the highway, man.
First event will be exactly the pop fights will be in Vancouver. That will be happening here on September 1st. It's on a Friday.
Are you sure on that? I don't know. That's the date that Asia sent me, man.
Canatrol. Of course, I know about Canatrol now. Also, here's a little tip on the pot fights.
Funny, you second guessing me, but I was talking to her all morning, so it's September 1st. It's a Friday.
Okay, so she changed it because she had me down for the 31st.
They changed it, so it'll be September.
Okay.
So
Okay,
they
cool. Now I know.
They to the Friday, so we have a Friday event now. So we'll go all night till midnight. We'll be talking a lot about this Friday because this Friday is going to be an all-day event. Some of this stuff's coming up with this event. And you're going to be seeing this happening, and we're going to be talking more about what's going on with this, so we get the hype up what's going on. Can't kind of release what's going on, but there's going to be a lot. The pot fight is going to be definitely the evening show. There'll be a beginning part of this whole event that will probably start at about 8 a.m.
Right.
9 a.m. Might even be a little bit before. And there's going to be different sectors of this event where it's going to really bring in a lot of awesome stuff, guys. Really connecting the community with the education and the knowledge, bringing in stores and LPs and OGs, and just bringing a community together that's never been presented how we're presenting it. And it's something that is being manifested over my lifetime.
Well, you've been working on this a long, long time, John.
Yes, I've been able to pull some great people together. I call it like the green team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
A real green team, a green team of passion. We sit right in this room along with others across the country.
So
Guys, I had a message this morning. He was like, I want to be part of that dream team. I give it like this is another like, oh, I didn't push my push-ups.
so let me get this straight. They changed the date of pot fights now?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
to what day?
September 1st now.
Okay, I'll call Asia about that for sure, so I can confirm. What I've done here, John, is I invited a friend of mine in order to go to pot fights. I'm trying to convince him to be an MC along with Sterling, but
To be part of Sea Fox and 101 Rock 101. Used to be we got lots of people doing this.
Cool.
and that's Brett the Hitman Hart.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, that'd be interesting to connect right into that.
No one wants to know when Pop Fights is.
It is the 1st of September now.
They want confirmation.
Is that Asia?
Yeah.
Hey, Asia.
We can't hear you, Asia.
Because my phone sucks.
Here, tell her I'm going to call her on mine.
Okay, Asia, we want a confirmation. What's the date of the pot fights now? Is it the 1st? No, don't hear a thing from her, man.
You said September 1st. Okay, I'll let you go.
Okay, well, we'll believe you. We'll believe you, John.
She can't talk. I'm sorry. My phone sucks. I'm not buying another one. This thing cost me $1,500. I figure I'm paying them. I got two of these suckers. Hey, wait a second. An idea here.
So yeah, you got pot fights coming up. Before that, we actually have the Unicorn Cup and Camp Canna for I think. Johnny, are you coming for the Unicorn Cup? I think you talked to Shay about that, didn't you?
Yeah, I'm really fully part of that now.
Okay. And I know Dale's coming to that. He was saying it as well. So
yeah, you guys have all convinced me it's the place to be and the place to go, right? So
the dream team is going to be like that. We're all going to there. That's where everybody's going to show up.
okay, who is that with that? John, we lost everything you said. I don't know if that was on your audio or one of ours.
there we go. So here, hang on a second, Asia. See if you're clear on my phone. Say something.
Okay. I have a little bit of a cranky baby, but it is September 1st. It is booked, paid for at the Victoria Hall at 2026 East 43rd.
Thank you, Asia.
Thank you, Asia. There we go. Is this a new discovery, or is this something new that happened in the last couple of days, or what?
Sorry, my son's really upset. What do you
That's okay. Kids are part of life, and that's one of the greatest things in life.
Well, he's been pretty cranky this morning.
Yeah.
He wants all kinds of stuff right now.
We booked it 2 weeks ago. Originally, we were going with August 31st, and we had a
Yes.
blip at the hall, so it's now September 1st.
There we go.
Okay. Awesome.
Okay. So you guys all heard that, man. September 1st, it's the place to be.
Pot fights. Yeah.
The very first, nothing ever heard or ever seen before something such as this. It's exciting.
Am I fighting anybody? Who wants to fight me?
Me.
I got no beef with you, man.
Oh no, let's create one. Let's I don't know.
Let's
It's
make one.
fucking pillows, man. It's fucking
There's a
pillows.
lot. I want a serious hater. You seriously? Let's have a beef. We got a
There
beef.
you go, Asia.
Thanks, Asia.
Thanks, Asia.
It's beef about water. You believe that this product is stealing your terps, and it's not
Thanks,
good.
sweetie. I'm gonna call you later, though. Okay.
I'm gonna beef anybody who wants to beef about both of them who wants to beef about water. Let's talk about water and why water plays such a key important role. So I'll fight anybody if you want to talk about water in your weed. Let's have a chat. Tell me why you don't think temper control, sorry, I said humidity control is good for your weed.
Mhm.
Let's discuss it.
You know,
I got a whole bunch of
you know,
research.
you know that I always have a objective reasoning for everything. I try to see both sides of every aspect, but unfortunately, John, I'm in total agreement in every aspect with you on this because, well, it's extremely important.
They presented it. They asked. They kept asking. I'm sitting in the back, and I'm I'm in tears. I'm like, my God, I'm for you guys. I just created it. It was presented to me, and this is how we're gonna.
Oh, John, is that you, man? You're. I don't know. You're scraping by your microphone or something. It sounds just really bad. No.
Something else. Definitely.
Yeah,
There's something in the background.
I think it's your laptop microphone.
I'm not doing nothing. Nothing's moving around me.
Yeah. Do you guys hear that, Dale, Tony? Do you guys hear that?
What are you hearing?
It's just like paper over a microphone.
It's Mr. What do you got going on there, Toad?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Hmm.
It's all you then.
Okay, must be just me. Okay. So anyway, Lily, it's pot fights. So it's John. Why don't you explain what pot fights is all about?
Pot fights. So, what's been on in the industry? If anybody knows the industry, there's been on. There's been a few pot fights. People just like a little bit of pot fight. A little bit of animosity or hate or just judgment, or there's been like, yeah, I fucking don't like that guy. He's an asshole. Why? I don't like him. I don't like his weed. I don't like the way he presents to, but we're in the industry. We all know one another. We're all one love. So present, what's going on? Why don't you get along? What's you're both in the same industry. You're both making extraction. You're both growers. You're both LPs. You're both whoever you are. Let's present it on the table. Let's present it. Like, why are we fighting? We're all brothers and sisters. We're all after one cause, right? We're all here to get to serve the planet so we can enjoy this and talk and get the education and not be controlled by somebody else telling me that I can't talk about how cannabis is going to save the world.
Yeah, John, it's 100% you, man. When you move your papers around, it's like like they're describing it. It's a loud sounds like the wind. No, it's when you hit it on the laptop, man. Yeah, right there. Right there. Yeah. So it's either the breeze from the paper, like I'm not sure where you have your laptop, but
I'm done talking about sound and the laptop. Hold it in the air and wasting our time. People.
But we can't hear what you're saying is the problem.
Turn down your microphone. It's not that bad. Sorry, guys. Apologize.
No worries. So anyway, you were talking about the water activity and pot fights. It's about everybody getting together that was arguing and bringing everybody back into the community. Our community has such a big heart, and we got to get out of ego and out of the heads and back into the heart and move forward with this plant around the world, like what John's doing, what Tony's doing, what Dale's doing, what I'm doing. It's all about that caring, sharing, and community and moving forward.
Well, it's just about growth. We're all friends.
Yeah.
Just having
Or
fun.
we should be.
Well, it's the education that was needed. So what's being presented right now is how can we educate the public? How can we educate the community? How can we be able to bring the people together so they understand, the ones that want to know, we're not forcing anything, and having fun with it. And
Yeah.
bringing like the store owners and the LPs, because no one knows what they're buying. It's not like the old days, and I could just go to my dealer. We could find out what we were getting. You know, see how the choice. We didn't have to order thousands of dollars to grow millions of dollars worth of weed. You can actually, hey, I used to run a couple strains first. Hey, you like this? Yeah, okay, run a room. Then it goes out. We already know what it's about. We've done this for centuries. I've been doing it. We've been doing it. Everybody I know has been doing it. That's how I found Medi Kush.
Yeah.
That's how we found the strains that we have, because we feed on things. Why do we hang on to certain ones, those golden ones? They don't have that opportunity. So now I'm what they're asking for is we got to present it. So now the opportunity to have their weed grown, do a small crop, have it tested through store owners and OGs, the legacy people that get together, like Ram, myself, all of us here, we get together, a small event, have a pot fight thing at the end of the day, really go through different things, present everything. And at the end of the day, everybody hugs and kisses and we go home, we have a great dinner and a little live band at the end of the night, a one-day event of really community driven and having that base of compassion. And it's only going to happen with certain people. And pulling that community together is what I've been presenting, and this will be presented. It's happening. It's already being manifested, and you're about ready to see this awesome stuff. And we're going to make it. I see and hallucinate this popping up here, and then Calgary and Edmonton, and Saskatchewan, and Hamilton,
everywhere,
Niagara Falls, and planning these happening. That people get together and they create their own little. And I'm going to put an SOP behind this. We're all talking about it. We got groups of 1, 2, there's about 5 or 6 different people. I've even talked with bigger companies. OCB, Rolly's a great guy there. I've had great conversations. See what the community is. Everybody's asking, all communities. They all have a need. We all have a need to be able to connect. We all have a need to be able to fully understand and get full access. We all have a need to be able to have a way of being able to connect with one another and build that rapport and give them what they need. But everybody knows what I've been doing, so I took a lot of notes, and I'm presenting what you guys all are looking for, and myself, because I need the same need. Because I spent over $10,000 on shitty fucking weed over there in the corner. If I would have known it was an A, B, or C, I would have only bought A or number 1 instead of mostly C's. But a lot of people.
And that's where I think we really need to be able to go into a store and open the jar and smell it. Like
you won't be able to open up the jar and smell it. But if I grade it by an AW standard and you've been educated on it, you'll know exactly what's in there.
True. Yeah.
Simple. Keep it simple, guys.
Well, and having that standard, I think you're right. Then we don't need to smell it. We can buy. We know that we can consume.
Well, it's already
at that AW.
The best part about it is it's already being worked on through UBC with Bovita, with myself. Like there's a few people that have been. Now we're presenting. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Well, and it's necessary. We need to move in this
direction.
direction.
Big brown words here. Create the new hype. It's a new lifestyle. It's keeping it fresh, brand connecting consumers.
Yeah.
There you guys
well, that's
go.
part of the education, right?
That's what it is. It's brand connecting consumers along with pod fights. That's what's going to happen. There you guys go.
Okay.
See you September 1st. Brands
in
connecting
Vancouver
with pod fights in Vancouver.
So that's Pod Fights. That's at the in September. Where's your next event? Like we got the 2 before then.
Well, after
What
that,
are you
you're gonna
thinking?
have your next event after that is going to be Grow Up in October, roughly about 42 days away.
Yeah.
You know what? There's nothing really happening for Christmas. Lyft will probably present themselves in January, and then you're gonna get February, March, which are coming to Grow Up. And then they're gonna be. You have BC Craft that happens out in Kelowna.
Yeah.
So we just bring that education in with that. I just link with all the events. I'm only bringing myself and what we have here is the education, the knowledge, and what we're trying to present. So it's being able to work within the community and pulling the communities together. It's where we all work together. We need the legacy and the community and the new community understanding, get the education and all of that, and bring in the people that can make things move on the higher end when it comes down to the corporate ends. They're actually doing the higher up ends of what's happening, setting these standards. They have the ability to make those standards happen. To the patients, to being educated, or to the store owners that need the education or to understand, to the ones that are producing it. To the ones that will be fighting about us, now we can get together and all hug and kiss and make up and really build this community even stronger.
And that's what's needed. Globally is stronger.
It's what you guys
Oh man, that's just horrible, John. Just horrible. Move the papers away. Don't touch the papers anymore. There you go.
So that's what we're looking for.
Yeah. And it's those, if we can create that standard in Canada, then in North America, then around
it's going to be certain people. So you're going to, people like Ramo and Ross and all my friends and Mark. So not me, it's it's we. You know, it's what we've all seen together and what we've all presented together. What everybody's done. You can see a pattern of all different parts of the industry of where we are. Like I said, it's like the green team.
And it's going to be a big green team.
Yeah, and now that municipalities actually have started clamping down on the gray market incredibly, there was an event in Vancouver yesterday where the police came in and issued everybody basically warnings. Either shut down or arrests will be made. It shut the event down completely because it was mainly gray market.
Right.
So, you know, it's imperative that things start changing so that we can get some of this high grade cannabis that these people are producing. A lot of people are in their basements, in their backyards, they have their own private grow facility. And it's definitely something that's extremely imperative that it gets out there so that people can actually not only try but obtain what they really need when it comes to medical cannabis.
Well, that's where we've gotten away from the medical aspect of the cannabis, and we need to get back to that. That's what John fought for how many years?
Well, what you're looking at, guys, and honestly, is the legal system is give more medical access than we ever have. It's got everything that you could possibly imagine when it comes to
just not the good weed.
No, there's killer weed there. I gotta say,
there is.
What there was and what there is now. They're all asking. That's why I had 6 of people sitting around there, people from Aurora talking. What there was and where we are now is we're 5 years in now. 5 years with the change. We all talked about it's going to take 5 years to get for the first 5 years of the system. Now we're seeing high doses. Now we're seeing they have 750 milligram packs coming out. They're actually putting in a new system by the end of this year, which will be a standard. Don't forget, it was Health Canada. I was in the business meeting, so writing stuff down.
Okay.
They got 750 milligram vape carts coming out.
And that's through Health Canada. They're actually approving this. Cool.
They're stepping up. They're having how fragile the consumers start 23 right now. Fixed pricing is coming in model for fall. They're going to probably a fixed pricing model for patients. There's going to be a fixed pricing model. You can buy in Edmonton. You can buy 2 grams pre-rolls for $9.
Okay.
Ready to go. It's good. Not bad weed. You can buy 1 gram for $6. I saw people going and buying it with change. We don't have that here in BC yet, but that should be a set protocol, a fixed pricing for certain things that now they can now put in a fixed pricing that can be based on an AW, right?
I think though, like you look, I think more
So
what
when you
Dale's
start giving access
talking
now,
about is being able to go to a market, a farmer's market, and buy somebody's wheat in a farmer's market.
Mhm. But
it's
here's
gonna
the
come
thing,
to a point where you see how that will slowly be evolved, and it'll be who you trust on, because what they're looking at there is pesticides, molds, all kinds of things that are being presented, which we say that's already with your vegetables, and to identify it with the education that you can put behind that. I see that happening in the future, is being able to educate people what to look for, and when they go into this part, you have there's someone there to educate what's there so they can oversee what's there before it actually. And that I really see that happening, because we've already had Matt Barron from House of Greg Gardner take his cannabis to a local event in Duncan and had 1 cups, and it was all there. So you are seeing this happening. We are evolving. We can foresee this will happen.
Yeah.
So instead of saying, and when's this going to happen, or how long is it going to take, or what can we do, how can we make it happen? We are the most powerful ecosystem in the world. Our reach is bigger than we know. So as we start exploring more with this plant, and it really starts really taking over and really showing its true colors, this is going to evolve to that. We're also going to evolve outside of the solar system. AI is also going to evolve and really do things. It's the amazing amount of work I can do with AI now. And if you're not using it, get on there. I got shit for being in a group yesterday. I got to get to work. I got to learn some other stuff. I was doing some things and trying to make things easy. So that isn't about this group. Nice being nice about you, but now you have to do this. I was like, oh shit, now I got to go back to work. So now I got given a task. Peer groups of people that push you, by the way, is another good thing.
Yes. Yeah.
So using these tools, you're going to see on my websites, they're starting to pop up. You're going to start seeing all these beautiful things of all my research that I've done. So I'm taking it all and using the prompts and rewriting it to these free courses, free prompts, free ways of looking at terpenes and what I've talked about, water activity, all of this curing cannabis, all of this I've been talking about is now going to be on Berfelo.com under, there'll be a section, you'll see that. So that'll be really, but I'm able to get back to you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that's something that's necessary, is when somebody asks a question that we can actually answer it, you know.
It's all going to be presented there. So get it all there. And you will be able to, I think under there, it's buried deep. And if you go to johnberfellow.com, it's going to go under. Yeah, the way they put it there, it's hard to find. And I was mentioning that with the staff this morning. So, and just where we can find it. And there's some really good stuff there on the Greenway.
Well,
natural.
Hetty's on right now. So, you know,
Hetty,
listen to John.
about those papers, Hetty, about putting a link so people can get that one on the Greenway and that whole stuff that we had on the slideshow. That was really, really well done. And we used a certain AI to do this, to reword the things, but no, to make the images. Check out the imaging. It was all about the imaging, and it really makes it really just so awesome. Pretty cool. There you go. It's rewarding. And Mr. Toad, all of your stuff and all of your genetics and everything you have, you can do some pretty amazing stories around what you've done with those genetics. Create the little slideshow behind it to really present it, the story behind what you've done, and put that story into some pictures to attach to a call. Dude, I'd love to give you some great prompts that would work so awesome if you're into it. And you might already have it. I'm already on this shit, dude. I'm sitting here doing this right now.
I used to have a binder when I worked there that had all those notes written down, but when everything went sour back in the day, I lost most of the binder, but I have all the pictures somewhere. I've got so many pictures from back in the day. I've got hundreds of thousands of pictures. I used to just take pictures all the time. I love being in there with the plants.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. My phone is absolutely full of pictures. My laptop, everything. I got so many pictures but that's the thing, a lot of times when I go to these conventions or I go and meet a friend, or it's not that I show them my pictures of my kids. I show them all pictures of my flower, right?
Those are your kids. Come on.
It's constant. I
Yeah.
don't know. Most people find it much more interesting to look at all my flour than
And John's showing a brain,
what's this
cooking there
about?
on good drugs, maximizing therapeutic potential. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, it's all these little things. It's cool stuff.
Yeah. And
So,
the plants are
just
the kids,
illustrating,
right?
I'm just smiling.
So, John, have you started to pop some new seeds and started a new grow for upstairs yet?
I'm putting celery in there upstairs right now.
Okay, cool.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Oh yeah, I eat a lot of that shit. It's expensive. Prices are going up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well,
first
guys,
we're
we're
gonna
at
get
the
celery, we're
hour.
gonna put it in. So I'm soaking this right now. As soon as when I start getting some roots from this, you'll start seeing some roots pretty soon.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty soon you'll start seeing some roots coming from here. When the roots start coming in, I will then plant this upstairs into my living soils. I'm gonna start growing celery now to my first crop because I'm not gonna grow wheat in the summer; it's too hot. So I'm gonna grow celery. I get some nutrition. Then I'm gonna do my microgreens. I'm gonna start too. So I'm gonna pop. I got about a few hundred Medikush seeds. They're gonna go down for the first my first little project. I'm just getting it. We want to see the profiles of the difference now. So we're gonna go pure one strain, have it tested through the lab, see where that comes back. The research will start coming in on that over the next few days. That will then be presented, and that's just the next steps of being able to bring a new medicine to the market.
Which labs are you using, John, if you don't mind my asking?
I don't remember.
Okay.
I have to look at my phone for the guy. I got too much shit going on. I haven't had a chance to do my note taking yet.
Yeah.
Thank
you.
His name's John. I saw him at all the events.
I myself put down some Medikush seeds.
Cool.
You did.
Yeah, you fucking right, I did. Oh, sorry. Yes, I did.
You did that. You did the 3-packs. You don't know what you're getting. You're getting a. So that's what happened. 10 people got a 3-pack. That 3-pack was one feminized Medikush cross with a 91 OG, one feminized cross with a Death Baba, and one feminized Medikush. So you got a tri-pack down.
Cool.
Well,
And no one's ever grown them before. So whoever's got them now will be before me. I don't have
that's
time.
too fun.
Send me some weed.
Sorry, man. I was excited. I had no idea.
Huh?
I was excited, man. I had to put them down. I put them down.
I've already got the message. Everybody has the first day. Everybody's like already. I want you guys to. I'm blessed. I want to be able to see what we get. I'm curious, and then we'll all get together, and I'll do a whole. We'll somehow figure it out where we all get together and do it.
Yeah. And do those original tastes and see which one's which, because you're the only one that really, really knows which one is which, John.
I know. That's the fun.
It's almost cruel. That's almost cruel, man.
Awesome. I just got that sent to me.
I'm so curious to see what it produces. It's incredible.
Me too. 710 Canuck knows.
Yes. Yeah, he would be the other man that does know. And he was at the grow up, and the man is amazing in what he's done for you, John. Really big ups for him.
Yeah.
Matt's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
You home? I'm home. He said, I'm looking at my phone for messages right now, right? So you home? I'm like, yeah, I'm home.
There you go.
Okay. I know you guys are going to keep talking. I got to go.
Okay, brother. See you later, man.
I'm messing you. 11 o'clock. Love you guys. Have a great day.
You bet. Bye, Johnny.
We got to do the job first here. Get smoking enough weed.
You get to dab your way out. So you dabbed your way in, then you do your push-ups. Now you're going to dab your way out.
What we do?
And then we're gonna keep on yapping while you're off doing work. We're gonna do work on here.
I just dumped a whole bunch of stuff on you. I just did a fire hose, and you're like, okay, John's like,
It was refreshing.
And there you go. And Hetty says, keep puffing, keep puffing.
She's coming over probably next. She has to have the meeting with me.
Oh, well, there you go. Hey, John,
But I
see
gotta
you later,
mute
brother.
first. Peace, guys.
There we go.
Okay, and there's John, and you guys heard all the different things that John has been working on and is working on, and a lot of things that are coming in the near future. Tony, what did you get out of what John was talking about?
Man, that guy's just moving forward and doing stuff. Basically, don't just think about it and hope it happens. Get out there and do whatever it is that your passion is telling you want to get done.
Yeah.
You have to fucking put one foot in front of the other. Take it from my ass. No, but for real, you do. You got to get out there and do whatever it takes if you're really that passionate about it. Cannabis wouldn't be legal anywhere if it was just a couple guys in a basement dreaming it up until those guys went out and told that shit to someone else and helped make that dream a reality.
Yeah.
And so that the only way you can do that's with action, and you got to look more presentable when you're doing it. Don't just go out there fucking acting a fool. Go out there with education, go out there with respect, and it'll come back to you tenfold.
100%. Dale, what do you think, bro?
Well, you know something, and that's the thing. It's all takes change, right? I always use as an example Vancouver 420, man. They never had a sanctioned event in the history of Vancouver on 420, ever. Now, because of the event that I pulled off at Thornton Park, the city wants it to be sanctioned because now they know this isn't going away. This is something that needs to happen. And they took no action. They observed. They did their research when this was happening, and discovered this is something. This is something, and it needs to be annual. The this thing that and I understand everything in life is baby steps. It's not giant leaps. So, I look at this as another baby step. Now, the next, they've requested that there are no gray market sellers during the next event, all legal vendors. So here's the step that was taken already right now is now we have the city sanctioning them all the event, those who get the permits and the permissions to do so. And we got all legal vendors going to be coming in, all dispensaries, as many as that possibly opt in. The next step we have is the farmer. That's our next step, is getting to have those who craft some of the most magnificent strains out there, but are unable to share. The ability to let the public and let the people know this is what's out there. This may be that strain that's going to give you a much higher quality of life. So this is the steps, just like my lounges. You gotta butt heads with sometimes with the law in order to get something changed for the better.
Yeah.
But
well, and that's where I was saying, I would love to see it at the farmers markets where, Tony or Dale or myself or whoever can go in and have it at the farmers market, and the people can gain the benefit both as a grower, proud of their cannabis because they're growing it properly, and a consumer who's looking for that particular strain. But I focus myself more on the medical aspects of cannabis, not just on getting high. I would rather see a more balanced cannabinoid profile in the genetics that are being pushed out to the populace.
Yeah. Oh, well, exactly. But that's what's needed. These steps need to be taken, and it's since legalization of cannabis in Canada anyways, You know, they threw every law they possibly could at it so that, you know, it makes it so difficult for anybody to do anything. Although it's legal, it's still not. And
Yeah.
you know, the freedom to do many different you even lose the not what's it where they can't even advertise like we were discussing earlier.
Yeah.
And you're correct. They
Mhm.
can, but they can get in a lot of trouble if they're discovered.
That's right. Well, it's
Right.
just like the
So,
guys at the event that the cops came in and said, guys, we don't want to bust you, just break it up and leave, or we're gonna have to. You know, that shouldn't even be happening. Like I just it in my own thoughts, I know it's just a matter of time and pushing, keep the boundaries being pushed and making the changes and writing the laws for the government to have them sign off on it. But it just seems to be so dang slow when we want it to go a lot faster.
yes, 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 and no. You know, nothing progresses fast. Nothing.
Mhm.
It don't matter what it is. It's always slow, and it needs to be slow so that the precise details can be worked out. Otherwise, you're just fighting a law that you fought before to change it again, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So, a lot of research, a lot of details need to be put into it, and to come up with exactly what's going on, because you don't want to take, like I just stated, take the same law and fight it over and over and over and over
yeah.
because of a little detail that was forgotten or missed out. So based on that, this needs to be, you know, pretty much at the pace it's going right now, and it's going leaps and bounds, leaps and bounds.
Well, and I think Dale, you know, the way you want to set up the World Stoners Lounge, and JD and Canadians actually talking about some people he might want to reach out to you. But you know, and Tony's what was used to be in the dispensaries where you know the patient could come in. I think we need to combine a model like that.
Mhm.
You know, a private members group where you have to be a member to get in, and then you can sample a different weed and
Mhm.
have somebody there that knows what they're doing to you know look at that weed that's coming in, say yes, this is got mold in it, it's going into the garbage, or you know, I think we need to move into that model. And you're not selling the weed, you're selling the you know paper to roll it in, or the bong, or however the person wants to consume it, to you know not necessarily skirt the law but stay within the law.
Yes. Yeah. Well, and that's it too. You still got to take measures to, as you just stated, being private. You know, it's that one-time membership once you
Mm-hmm.
get there, which makes it private. If you don't want to pay for the membership, well, then of course you just.
You don't
I'm
get in.
sorry. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
simple as that.
But
And yeah,
and I truly believe, like you're just saying, and this is exactly the model I'm going for. You can buy it at the counter. You can smoke it in the couch right next to you.
yeah.
Now
And you're
you
not
know.
buying the cannabis, you're buying the spot
Oh,
on the couch.
well, you know, so be it. Right? It's you're there to relax, check it out. You know, bring your date, all your buddies. It's that friendly atmosphere that you've
Yeah,
always had and it always is. You know, there was nothing better than going to your buddy's basement, for example. Not saying that this is how it's going to look, because it's not, but everybody's sitting around talking, having a hoot, you know, relaxing, unplugging yourself from how the world is, and getting back to the norms and socialization of everyday life that should be to create, you know, a much tranquil psyche in yourself. And you know,
yeah,
it's it's just everything that's needed in life, because there's a lot of animosity going on, and it people, we really need to sit back and relax and smoke a fucking joint, man.
yeah. Well, and
You
it's
know?
the community that's formed there that we all can actually work together to move forward. Like you look at what the stuff that Johnny's doing, he's not doing this alone. It's a group of people that he's met over decades that he's drawing together to move forward. And, you know, that is how we're going to move forward. And like, Tony, I know they used to have it where you could go down to a market in California. Did they still have that? Have they canceled that? How is that working in California now? I don't know. Tony might have froze up on us. I saw him moving a second ago.
Yeah. Oh, there he goes. No.
And you're on mute.
Really. Different places in California are completely different than the next. You could have one county touching another, and that one lets you do it, and the next one doesn't want anything to do with it. So you really got to check with your local authorities before you start doing anything, really.
So the ones that do have the open markets, like what I was talking about, how are people reacting to that? And does it seem to be working good, or is there problems with it, or what are you seeing?
They usually work out pretty fine. There's usually not much of a problem. Cannabis smokers and growers aren't going to do anything to the community. That's what most of them are worried about. The only problem that I see with them is plants can be brought in that may have diseases or pests, and that's something that should be checked when they're passing plants around. That's the number one thing that I believe should be implemented before they start offering that everywhere and anywhere. From what's going on with cannabis these days, we need to make sure we got clean plants before we make sure we got another plant in the garden just for the sake of having another one.
Well, that's where quarantining for, you know, a lengthy period of time when you bring a new plant in to see. But as for your viroids, like your hop latent viroid, I was talking to some experts. It's in the seed. There is no way around it nowadays, unless you're doing a meristem scrub and you never bring another plant close to it, and you don't bring a human being close to it. It's there. It's something that I think that, you know, a living soil they're seeing is, you know, defeating it where it doesn't even show up. It's like cancer. We have cancer in our bodies. The health of us, the healthier we are, the less likelihood we're going to get cancer. And I think that's the same with a lot of the viroids and the problems in our cannabis genetics now. The healthier plant is, you're not going to show those problems, even though it actually is still there.
Yeah. Wow.
Is so like I know when I had Claude Robert on, that was one of the things that he was talking about. Is it's in the seed form now? It's not just in, you know, the cuttings, etc., that we have the problems with some of these, you know, diseases that are with our cannabis plant. And like JDN says, horizontal gene transferred. Yeah.
Yeah. Transferring with endophytes. I've been doing some research on it too, showing that it's possibly being transferred through the endophyte, or being carried in endophytes, which then inoculate seed tissue.
Yeah.
And then that could be what's happening.
Yeah, and actually, I'd love to have you and Luna on. I got to reach out to her again. She was, you know, we're trying to work on a show, and I'd like you to be her first guest, because this is some of the stuff that she's studying as well. I think would be a absolutely fascinating conversation. But I know she's also writing a book, so she's kind of busy, and I hate to disturb that young lady.
Yeah,
there you go.
She's always been. But if it's transferring through endophytes, we're fucked. The only ways out of that, they're gonna have to fucking offer pretty much free meristem tissue culturing of anything that's entered into any kind of program.
Well, I don't know if we're truly fucked. I think it's going to be down to just having to deal with it. It's like when a disease comes into a population or a genetic shift in a plant species, you just have to deal with that now moving forward. And I think that's what it's going to be with the, things like the hoplite and viroid. We're just going to have to, have our plants so healthy that they never show those genetic traits. It's just, that's the only way that I think we're going to be able to move forward on it.
Breeding out. I know they're showing some plants have less susceptibility to acquiring it. It doesn't show up as quickly in them.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of work that's going to have to be done if we're going to breed out of it.
Oh, definitely.
Hops. Yeah.
Yeah, the hoplite and viroid. If it is being carried in endophytes, that's on every part of the plant. Even if you sterilize the seed, it's there. It's inside it. It's on outside of it.
Well, and the thing is, like, like JDN,
go ahead.
JDN Canadian is saying you can breed it out or genetically cut it out. But the thing is, okay, you do your plant at home, and you're out in the environment, and you pick it up on your clothes, and you're bringing it right back into your grow, and it's attacking your plant. It's like, I know when I studied bees, there was diseases from 10 years ago that they were all freaking out about, and then all of a sudden it went on to the new disease. The old one was forgotten about. They weren't spraying chemicals for it, but the bees just naturally evolved to deal with it. I think that's where I think we're getting lost in the weeds on a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, but not with the viroid that rewrites the RNA. Once that gets into the RNA and starts to recode DNA, the plant's never going to be the same without fixing it. And fixing it goes through meristem tissue culture. That costs a shit ton of money at the moment. You have to have clean plants that are stored somewhere that stays clean, and you don't clone in your facility. You always replace every grow with a tissue cultured version of that plant. You don't keep moms, because that's where the problem. They're going to find the vector is going to be so many different things for us. It's going through mycelium, transferring through bugs. I mean, you got to have a clean plant, and they're not going to offer that to home growers. Too much money. If every home grower wants to have every one of their grows set up like that, unless you're there, you're just going to go down and buy the plants from a verified source, and that's again like with the market you're talking about. You can't just go down and buy a clone from anybody anymore. We can't do that, or we're going to end up like hops did, and it's in 90% of all the hops around the world. It's on every continent. We don't want that happening to cannabis.
Actually, I think it's too late, Tony. I think it's happened to cannabis. I think that no matter what we do, it's here to stay. I think we just have to, see what happens. Like,
yeah, but some of us have old genetics that were here before this happened.
Yeah,
there's a way around this shit. That's why testing has to come down. If we're going to fix this, if it's as bad as what you're saying, testing has to be free. We have to find the clean gene pools before we find an extra penny. Right? There's got to be a way for that to happen. I need to be able to test it at my house cheaply to find out which one of the gene pools or the germplasm I'm holding is free of the viroid. And those are what you start to work with. Right? It costs way less than finding ones that are dirty and decide you want to keep it, and then going through meristem tissue culture to clean it. That's just uneconomical. They're literally not going to offer free cleaning of plants anywhere. They're going to charge for it. You got to make money to spend the money, and that knocks a ton of people out of the loop. Right? Otherwise, we have to have a way to test for it very cheaply at home to find out if, like I said, the germplasm we're working with is clean. And once it's clean, that's introduced into the gardens. Anything that's not does not get entered, and we can breed right around it without it ever happening again by having that clean gene pool and offering that to a bank that can be passed as clean plants. Doesn't have to go through tissue culturing. It just put in there, at least not meristem tissue culturing. It can go through a tissue culture setup where now there's offerings of that germ plasm to anyone that wants it for a price, which would end up paying for all the testing that could come through and all the housing of the plants that's needed. and then returning the gene pool, that germplasm, back to the breeder, for without having to charge him up front for all of this, or her, whoever it happens to be. If we're going to save this plant, it truly is the medicine that can save everybody. It's the mockingbird of plant world. It can be everything that we need it to be if we're smart enough to create the lines that we need from this plant for that. We can correct everything we need to, from carbon sequestering to cancer cures, man. Like, all we got to do is look at this in a completely different way than what we're doing right now.
Mm-hmm. And I think what I'm basically getting at is the same thing that JDN is saying. You know, hop latent may be an ancient virus that the plant adapted to, but with the breeding we've done, we've taken out so many different aspects of the plant herself that was protecting against it, possibly. You know, because hops and cannabis is the same plant, just that genetic, you know, shift that happened, and maybe this is another genetic shift. I don't know.
That's why we don't want to lose this plant.
Well, yeah, exactly. You know, we don't want to lose the benefits of this plant. But like, I know, like, Kevin Jodry, I believe, has brought one back. I know other people that have brought, you know, a plant that had the hops latent, putting it into a living soil, and have brought it back to health and vitality, where the virus has been suppressed by the plant herself. I don't think we're going to lose the plant.
It still has it. It's going to show back up. As soon as you breed with it and offer it to someone, the seed stock has it. You haven't done anything but felt good about that plant looking healthy at the moment. It's not healthy. It should be killed and removed. Period. That plant, you're trying to dream your way out of nature, and that ain't going to work. It feels great. That plant's still dirty. You're not going to be able to keep all your genetics in the same kind of setup unless you could mimic it and keep it down everywhere. It's not going to work. It just isn't. On a commercial level, which is coming with cannabis, you're kicking yourself in the ass having a plant produce only half the terpene profile, half the cannabinoid profile, and only a portion of the biomass that you needed, because you're going to just let this take over when we can literally breed our way right out of it by using clean plants. If it was part of the system before, if it was in there, it would have shown way before now. It's the way we're fucking with cannabis and how legal it's becoming and how widespread it's becoming, and us using dirty techniques, passing this plant around was the problem. There's no education on how to make sure you have clean germplasm in your possession. People are just too hyped to fucking get the next cut, to grow the next hyped up strain, because that's all we do. We're watching Instagram, we're reading books and having competitions instead of literally treating this plant as what's coming. It's going to be a commodity. It's something that we're going to farm. We need to treat it as such instead of treating it as this thing that's this pretty thing that we're squishing under plates. We're just doing it real wrong right now, and that's why we got what we got. We got this plant with multiple viroids in it because of the way we've been fucking around with it for the last 20 years. And it came from being too quiet about it in the old days when it was illegal.
Yeah.
But now it's legal, we're acting like that. And we should be acting like real farmers and shit. We should need to talk to each other about what's going on. If this shit's dirty, it's got to go. Doesn't matter if it's this or that, or if it is that important. Cleaning it so that it's offered to everyone in a clean form is more important than taking pictures of your dirty plant. I feel like we should be doing more shit to save this plant. It saves so many of us. We should be doing way more to ensure that it's going to be here in the future, and not it's something that big pharma and big agriculture take from us because of the way we handle the plant. We're not treating it with any respect at the moment. That's why it got to the point that it's at.
Well, I think the legality of it, really having it in the background and not being able to do the testing, etc., that needed to be done back in the day, is really been a problem. But now that a lot of the world is moving towards legalization, you know, maybe we can do what you're suggesting to do, but there's still going to be people globally that, it's going to be there all the time in their home grow, etc. The
It
commercial
doesn't
guy.
have to be though. Like it's like we can buy good tomato seeds at a store. Those are
Mhm,
viroid free. We should be able to buy seed stock or germplasm clones that are clean, just like we're doing right now with the
mhm.
clones we're buying. We don't have to have dirty plants in our gardens. We don't.
Yeah.
And the fact that we're
Precisely.
doing that, we're growing mids for real. If your plant has hop latent viroid, it's not growing to its full potential. It cannot. No matter how well you grow it, it would have grown better
Yeah.
without that viroid.
Dale, you were going to say something, brother?
You, in
No,
fact, may
I'm
not even be getting
actually,
some of the cannabinoids or terpenes off of that plant because it has that viroid. It's going to suppress some of the enzymes that plant can produce, and now you may not even get a cannabinoid that plant has the potential to produce.
no,
Mhm,
Ken, sorry to interrupt. No, Ken, something, what Toad's saying here is absolutely crucial information that everyone must learn.
mhm,
You must. It's imperative because he's correct. The only way to get rid of it is to breed it out. It's the only way. There is no other options at this moment. You try even using old stock, same shit coming up, right? And you know what I'd like Told to do is just keep going, man, because this is imperative information here that
It,
definitely
it,
needs to be.
it hurts to hear it because of our community and what we're always talking about the patient and the plant and the medicine.
mhm,
We've treated this plant incorrectly. We've gotten to a point where, without stepping back and noticing that, recognizing it, and changing it, it ain't gonna it ain't gonna fix itself. And like the testing, if we can test our cannabis for cannabinoids and terpenes, that same place should be set up to test for the viroid, and it shouldn't cost as much as it's costing right now to do it, because the amount of money it costs on the other end, there's billions of dollars being lost in this industry because of this viroid, billions,
mhm.
because we're playing with dirty plants. And I don't know the level of it in it. I'm just going by what the experts are saying. If they say it's in
Yeah.
90% of everything they've tested, right? And let's say they tested half of the plants out there, we're looking
Mhm,
at like 40% of everything out here has the viroid. And if what they're saying is when you breed with a plant that has it, it's on the outside of the seed, right? Doesn't mean it's on the inside. We don't know yet that
mhm.
it's passed vertically. If it is, like I said, we're fucked. If we keep using those same
Yeah.
plants, we're fucked. They have to go. The seeds got to go. Everything's got to go. But if it's just on the outside, there's ways around cleaning your seeds. You can go through a
Mhm,
bleaching process that'll clean the viroid off this outside of the seed. It'll leave good endophytes inside the seed, so people worried about native bacteria and fungi on the seed, they're still present inside the seed. That's why
yeah.
I'm worried about it passing through endophytes. I've been doing some research on it. They've found a few viroids that literally can replicate in a fungus, in an endophyte, right?
Right.
If that's happening, that's how the seed is getting it from the mother. It's being passed through a fungus, the endophyte that populates the tissue of the seed. And that's coming from working with dirty plants again. Nobody knows they got
Mhm,
dirty plants until you can test for it. It costs most people too much money. Like it's cost more people than it would cost to go buy a gram of weed to go do it. Most people would not pay to do it, or it's illegal to send it in, or they're scared. All the things that are from the old days of how we did this. We need to step
yeah.
forward and act like it's corn, like it's tomato. It doesn't matter. It's a piece of cannabis. I should be able to send in parts of my plant from my garden to find out if what I'm growing has it. Not once it has it, you just get rid of it. We don't get in arguments over this guy gave it to me or this farm I got. It's here and we don't know how it got here. It's going to stay here until we decide to get rid of it. The only way out of it, from what they're telling us, is tissue culture. I believe that's only
Mhm,
one way. I believe the other way is through breeding, and that's with old stock that doesn't have it, and treating that stuff completely different than the way we're treating shit today. You don't just pass a clone to your friend; it's sent to a bank where the bank cleans the plant no matter what, even if it doesn't have it. It's sent through tissue culture, so now I have 100% clean replication of this plant that I can use as a mother at that spot that's in a sterile situation.
Yeah.
That now other people can go, I need 10 copies of that plant. They pay for them. It's shipped to them. They grow it in their garden. Right? That's how we keep this plant from being lost. That's the only way we go about doing it. If we don't do that, we're just wasting money and trying to get paid off each other over something that's here that we're gonna say is gonna stay. And it's not gonna stay unless we allow it to stay. Right? And right now we've just let it overstay its welcome. Right? It was should have came here and taught us a lesson. We should learn new farming techniques, new breeding techniques, and instead we want the quick way out of cleaning whatever the fuck I got so I can save a clone that I've had for 30 years, which in reality isn't as special as we think. If we start growing large populations of cannabis seeds, we're going to find other plants that are better than what we found, that have the medicinal powers that we're looking for in higher forms. But because we were from the old days, we had to grow just 10 seeds and find one special plant in those. We've been holding on to plants forever. And those single plants are mostly not that special. It's the gene pool that they came from that was. Right? We can rebreed a lot of these things if we had large populations of the seed stock they came from. And like I said, a lot of us have those. A lot of the old guys that are breeding and girls, the breeders that are out here have stock that they don't dig into and go through because they're not the hype shit. They're not going to get us paid today. Right? We're all doing it wrong. We're breeding for the wrong purposes. Not everybody, but in general, that's what's happening. We have to get away from that. Right now, we need to go into savior mode. It's like when you get fucking spider mites just before you go into flower. Do you just fucking go into flower anyway and deal with it? Or do you wait the time to fucking get rid of those bugs before you flip the switch so that way you don't have to worry with the fucking ticking time bomb that's coming at the end? If you take the time in the middle to either get rid of what's there and start over fresh, or to fix what's happening before you just move forward with and decide to deal with it, you're going to save yourself money, time, medicine, heartache, everything. And that's where we should be at right now. We should be in the savior mode, not in the fucking I'm the savior, because it seems like everyone's looking for the way to be the person that brings what's going to fix this to the forefront. And that doesn't matter. But we just need to do it. It's like what John was talking about early. We can dream about having clean plants, or we can fucking make sure we do. We have to go about doing it as a community.
Well, I think it's the only way that we're going to be able to afford to do it and get the research done and move it into more of a affordable thing is as a community and everybody working on the same problem. The more minds you have working on the problem, the faster it's going to get solved. Exactly.
And we got to look at it from outside of cannabis too. Like this top latent viroid attacks hops. We should be looking at as many studies on the hops side first while we're looking at the cannabis side. And that's where I found some of the endophyte stuff.
Right. Through the hop side.
Finding it on the hop side. Because the cannabis guy hasn't went that far into the research yet. They're doing it kind of shallow. The research
how
that
they
they're
save
looking
the
for.
hops plant then?
They did.
They beat it in the hops plant?
They claim it doesn't affect hops because it doesn't affect hops the way it will affect cannabis. They just let it grow and they just let it have it. They don't care. But now they're figuring out that it can do some stuff. Like the cone size is smaller. They do have less terpene profile. But because they're growing massive fields, they don't care. The way it's harvested and grown for hops, it really doesn't matter. But for cannabis, it does because of the way we're growing it and what that does to what we're growing. Like I said, it reduces terpene profiles, it reduces cannabinoid profile, and those are what we're after.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and we're doing it on a small scale, right? Everyone's got numbers. There's no numbers for hops. You don't go to a hops farm and the guy's not worried that he's got one hop plant too many. You go to a cannabis farm and there's fucking tags on every fucking plant. It's on a micro scale that we're doing this, and that's why it's very evident of what's happening. If we were doing it on massive scales, like they did when they were growing fiber hemp, we probably wouldn't see none of this happening. There'd be large fields of stalks growing fucking everywhere. We don't care what it smells like. It doesn't matter if it gets us high. And we're just going to let it grow. But that's not
Yeah.
what cannabis is today on the pharmaceutical side. On the pharmaceutical side, everything that we're trying to produce from that plant is affected by this viroid extremely heavily. That's just a
Okay.
fact. Your plant may not be showing it today, but it's going to show it. Period. It's the only reason it's not showing it now is because it's moving slowly through your plant. You may have a plant like in the test I saw, it's called Jamaican lion. They found a plant that they infected purposely. It went through a full flower cycle before the plant showed up with it. It took over 6 months before it showed up in the rest of the plant. Other plants will show it in 6 weeks. As soon as you inoculate it at the top of the plant, it travels to the root, goes through the phloem, and it's in every part of your plant. Period.
Okay.
Now, I don't know if it's a Brix level or something. I'm not smart enough that's triggering it. Is it heat? Some form of stress usually causes it to react. Once it reacts, you're screwed. You could lose your whole flowering room if this shows up at week 6 and you harvest at week 8. You have nothing. You just spend electricity, water, manpower. Like if you're on the commercial level, this could kill you if this happens in the middle of your grow. But on the commercial level, they're probably going to write in testing so that germplasm's clean, and that's great for singular farms. But this is happening to the whole community.
Now, I don't know, Rusty. I really don't know if it's in any, because it can be in anywhere. Okay. We don't know where it is. That's part of the problem. I don't think there's anybody would ever do anything on purpose like this, but we don't know. And that's, I think, is part of the problem is nobody's taken that or has the money to be able to fucking run everything and track everything. I think it's just going to be, the more that, like Tony has been talking about, people are testing and beating it and saving, the profile, in a form where it can't be replicated in the next level of plants. I think that is maybe where we're going to have to go with it.
Like I said, anyone worried about their seeds, go through the bleaching sterilization process and clean it off your seeds if you're afraid it's on your seeds.
Yeah.
Waste
So
as
what do you
much
think of
time
this,
trying to
Dale?
clean your seed
Sorry, Tony.
as looking for the culprit that may have sold your seeds to you. That's all I'm trying to say. Too busy trying to blame somebody is never going to fix anything.
Yeah. So Dale, what are your thoughts on what Tony has been talking about?
Well, it's got me so once again alerted to it. It seems to come in waves where people are much more alert to what's really happening. And once again, he's done this. So what I've done, I just sent out a message also to see if there is, a way they could even incorporate on how to test for it. Just as Toad just stated, they can test for everything else. Why are they not testing for this also? It's important, extremely important.
And there's multiple viroids that they should be testing for. Beet curly top, um, tobacco mosaic virus. There's about 12 different viruses and viroids they should be testing for cannabis so that we can ensure that this isn't getting passed along. Some of them aren't doing much at all. All right. And those we don't need to be worried about. But the hot latent viroid is taking this plant and fucking it's body slamming it, man. And we're just letting it happen. I don't understand why we're doing that.
Okay, Tony, what would you suggest is a safe bleaching solution for seeds? We'll start with that.
You want to do a 10% solution, 10 to 20% for 2 minutes is what they recommend. But the ones that depending on seed size, you may need to do it for up to 30 minutes. And you might want to do it on the agitation. I don't have my stirrer here, but I have a magnetic stir. It's a stir plate. It has a little magnetic stick. You put a fucking beaker on top. You add your water solution and chlorine to it and let it spin very slowly with the seeds in there for 2 to 30 minutes, depending on size of your seed, really. because you could be doing this with all your vegetable seeds. It helps with germination. Your plant, from every test I've seen, germination has went up roughly 10% using a bleach sterilization process on
I know
almost
that's what I
every.
used to do when I did my microgreens. I'd always bleach my seeds or use hydrogen peroxide to clean them off before I planted them, right?
Yep. And right now, I don't know if it's
So,
inside or out. From what I've seen, because someone's asking, is it in it? From what I've seen,
yeah.
it's not in it yet. It's only on the seed coat. So you would clean the outside of the seed, and that's why I'm thinking how a seedling gets it is from the mother tissue, which is the outside of the seed. The outside of a seed is maternal tissue, right? So if it's inoculated the maternal tissue and you clean it, it doesn't have the ability to inoculate the seedling. Right. If you don't clean it, it's on the outside, and that seed shell pops out, and it's clinging to the one of the cotyledons, right? And like we all do, we go in there to remove the helmet. As soon as you do that, it nicks the fresh tissue and makes an opening to where that viroid instantaneously passes from the outside of that seed to the seedling, which I believe is how possibly they're getting it, unless it's coming through endophytes. If it's coming through endophytes, again, we're fucked because endophytes populate everything. But like you can bleach it and do whatever you want and put it in a sterile area, they still show up. They still show up, which means they're in the tissue from the ovary. So like what was ever on the mom formed into that it's a symbiotic relationship where it doesn't become part of the DNA, but it's living off of that as it forms. And then because it forms in different areas too, endophytes will form on the radicle, they form on the cotyledons, they form on all different parts of the plant as it's growing from the original inoculation that came to the seed.
Right.
And from what I've seen, the bleach doesn't kill those. It's killing the viroid though on the outside, and it does have the ability to kill some of the pathogenic fungi, but it's not killing anything that inoculated the actual embryo.
Has anybody tried silver solution at all? Do you know?
I have read on that, and they do use silver in some tissue culturing to help clean the meristem. So I've wanted to try, and this is where testing needs to come in. I want a plant that's dirty that I can spray with silver every 3 days, right? At different levels. So I need clones of the same plant. I need to spray one at like 1 part per million, the next one at 5, and move my way up to like 50 or 100, and see if any of those have the ability to reduce the load or even wipe it out.
Yeah.
Because if they're doing that as a sterilization process and tissue culturing, and silver kills fucking everything it's going to really come in contact with. So I have read, and I do have some papers on that, but not specifically with the viroid, but with removing other viruses and other contamination.
Well, I know I make my own silver solution, both colloidal and ionic, and that's what I was using to clean out my trays between, growing my microgreens, etc. Because it takes out the bad, but it still actually leaves the good. That's why the Roman soldiers would travel with a silver coin in their mouth, when they were on the march to keep themselves healthy.
But the only thing with the silvers with cannabis, it will alter the hormone level of ethylene production and make your females represent as males for a while until you quit the silver and let them outgrow it. It isn't a permanent.
Yeah. See, I would say do it as a seed soak at the beginning before you pop your seeds, and that would kill off any of the viroids if it is just on the outside of the seed. Pembina River is asking, what's the ppm of colloidal silver to feminize seeds, Tony?
I don't use colloidal silver. It's far too big a particle. I use silver thiosulfate solution.
Okay, I haven't actually not familiar with that.
It's silver nitrate and sodium thiosulfate mixed together. 0.5 gram of silver nitrate, 2.5 grams of silver thiosulfate. Each one dissolved into 500 milliliters of water. and then part A is put into part B so that it doesn't precipitate out when you're going to use it. And then I spray that at a 1-to-1 solution on most of my cultivars and have no problem. Some of them need to go all the way up to a 9-to-1. Just depends on the plant. It comes down to how many micromoles are on there. It's around 3.5 micromoles is what you want for an active solution. The one that I make comes out to 3. So it's real close.
Okay, and that was the dilution,
bad,
right,
man.
that you were just talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you need to use anhydrous instead of you want the anhydrous form of silver thiosulfate. That's why you're only using 2.5 grams. If you use the other version, it's I think like 3.7 grams. It's just a lot easier to put half a gram into 2.5. You're basically doing a fifth.
Makes the math easier, is what you're saying, Tony?
Yeah.
Hey, we are stoners, right?
There you go.
So, Dale, what do you think? Do you think that moving forward, you're going to start doing something like what Tony's suggesting for cleaning your seeds before you're planting them, etc.? Do you think that's the direction that we need to go? Or we need to really get together and take it to the next step? What do you think?
Well, it should be what you do anyways. It's not something that should be a next step. You should already be
Yeah.
doing that.
Yeah.
There's no question behind it, and this is what I was going to mention earlier. With the different varieties of molds and viroids, everything. Perhaps even a feature length video of all of them and showing what they do and what they what needs to be done or what can be or what has been discovered to eliminate it, and help people learn what's going on with these plants, because a lot of people don't know. They throw seeds into a pot and it grows in a tent in their basement or out in their yard. They have no idea what's going on, but pretty much they're waiting for the end product themselves because they seen that picture and they're just sitting there going,
Yeah.
and it's because they don't know.
Yeah.
They don't know. What's
Tony,
going
can
on.
you put an answer to Pevama's?
There's multiple places he could buy it from. You can make it. You can order it from a chemical store. There's multiple companies out there. Just type in silver thiosulfate and whoops, I'm breaking up there. Silver thiosulfate solution. There's a company called Elite X Elite. They make one that's one spray. You only spray the plant one time. Most of the other ones are multiple sprays. Where the one I use, I spray 3 times. But on some plants, it works with one spray. That's where it comes down to cultivars. How sensitive is your plant to the production of ethylene? Silver holds how ethylene is produced in the plant. When the ethylene level drops, the plant will represent as a male. If it's a female, it'll start to form male staminate flowers that will drop pollen for you that contain only X chromosomes. There is no Y present. You're not getting a male out of those. You're only getting females. And if you think you got a male, it's just a female plant that has issues with ethylene and is now representing and looking like a male. But 99.9% of the time, you're going to get nothing but pure female representation out of seeds made with silver thiosulfate solution.
Okay, no,
And
sorry,
usually
Dale,
when
I
you-
cut
when
you
you-
off to ask that question.
No, that's okay, brother. That's okay. I'll tell you, Toad is like a wealth of information. So
Walking encyclopedia, I call him.
you know something, and as he speaks, it even though you over the years you obtain a lot of information, and it's not you need to hear it once, you need to hear it twice. Hearing it many times in repetition, you retain it at a much greater level. So with Toad telling me all this and educating the people on it, it just helps immensely because I I love it when you can't disagree with somebody. You
He
know, I
knows too
just love
damn
it.
much, okay?
Rusty, the bleaching actually is better for it. It increases germination. You got to have a healthier plant at the end. You could be afraid of what it might do. If you do the research, you find out it doesn't do anything to the seed. The viroid, on the other hand, fucks it up.
Mm-hmm.
Just completely turns that plant into something we're not after.
Mm-hmm.
So the
Yeah,
guys
Hey,
who
Swerve
people
has his,
don't
Swerve
want to
has
use.
fucking Swerve juice. That's STS. Riot makes a Riot's silver reversal spray. Elite
Mm-hmm.
X Elite makes a spray. There's a company called what is it? Fuck, starts with a T. I can't remember what the exact name of it. You can get it on Amazon. There's multiple different companies out there. All you have to do is type in silver thiosulfate solution. That's what you're looking for.
There
Many
you go,
people make it.
guys.
I don't like buying it because it could be old. Like they could have made it 2 years ago and it's already pre-mixed in a bottle. And if you bought it from a place that doesn't store it well, it's going to be less efficient. It's not going to have the ability to reverse your plant on the same level as making it. I keep silver thiosulfate, sodium thiosulfate, and silver nitrate on hand all the time, and that's where I make it anytime I need it. That way, it's always fresh. And that's why I can spray my plants usually just 1 time to 3 times and get a full reversal. Where most of the online will tell you that you need to spray, like some of them used to say every day for like 21 days, and you're gonna just tear your plant apart doing that.
Yeah,
There you go.
definitely.
Yeah,
Well,
do.
like
Anyways,
I know on Thursday I've got a young lady coming on. Her name's Opal, and actually Tony's been talking with her. She is runs an apothecary, so she may be somebody that people can reach out to get some of these elements that are necessary, and she puts it all together. What would you think of that, Tony? If you know somebody local that has an apothecary that knows this stuff.
I'm all for it. Yeah, she's a smart lady. Me and her have done some talking. I got to get back to her on the last one. I'm putting a list together of some of the genetics that she was talking about, and she wants information on that do very specific things.
Mm-hmm. Now,
So I'm
as for
trying to
some
get
of the symptoms, B. Allen, just go to the internet and type in hopslate and viroid. You're going to get a
brittle
lot of
stem.
videos. Yeah.
Basically, your stems will snap right off your fucking plant.
Mm-hmm. Just drop right off.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Pembina River, so colloidal silver won't feminize the seeds?
It can, but it's not as efficient. It all depends on the size of the silver particle in solution. Most people make it with too large a particle, and it's very inefficient. And it does a lot of damage to plants.
Mm-hmm.
And it actually costs more than using silver thiosulfate. So if you make your own STS, it's way cheaper than doing colloidal silver, because colloidal silver you have to have pure silver. So now you got to go buy some silver. Like I've got an ounce bar of silver. I used to make my own. It doesn't work on some plants. That's what I found is colloidal silver on some cultivars will not reverse them. I've showed that with my Space Kush female number 2. I could not get her to reverse with colloidal silver. She would stop flowering and just send out like 2 or 3 pistils, and that's it. She never formed a male flower with colloidal silver. But when I hit her up with STS, there was almost no issue.
Mm-hmm. I wonder why that would be, Tony. Just a mix of the chemicals in, putting them together that creates that extra, signal to the plant.
Though it's the amount of voltage and amperage that you're using on the current when you make the silver. It makes a particle that's so large it doesn't pass through the membrane of the plant. So you need to have such a small particle of silver that if you have any you need to be at 27 volts at a very low amperage, or at 9 volts at a higher amperage. And it needs to be constant. Most people use the 9 volt because it's cheap. right? And they
Yeah.
just use a battery, but a battery loses power slowly. So your amperage goes up and your voltage goes down. It doesn't make the correct kind of silver. So I used to buy a generator and make it so I could keep it at 9 volts.
Yeah.
But if you don't keep it at 9 volts for a long enough time, you don't get enough silver in the solution. You have a small particle, but there's not enough of it to do what you need. So you don't have a high enough parts per million. So
Yeah.
it just came down to too much fucking around with electricity and water and silver when all I had to do was mix 0.5 gram of this and 2.5 grams of that and put it in distilled water. Like literally, you can go to the store and buy boxed water. It's 500 milliliters, the exact size you need. So you go buy 2 bottles of that and mix your chemicals into each one of those separate, mark 1A and 1B the correct way, and then you pour them together slowly when you need them by weight, 1 to 1.
Yeah.
Most
And it
of the
makes it
time
a
you
lot
buy it, it's
simpler.
pre-mixed. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
lot simpler, and it lasts longer. Your colloidal silver is not going to last as long. It becomes less efficient with age. It starts to actually coat whatever vessel you put it in and sticks to it. So if you got a glass jar, it ends up looking like you electrocultured it and tried to put the silver on the glass. And
Oh,
that's
it's
what
just throw
changed.
some color in there, and then you could do some
Yep.
fancy artwork.
You could.
Anyway, guys, we're at the 2 hours, so I'm
I
going to
gotta
cut
go.
it here, guys, and we'll catch you. As I said, I've got the Soil Matters here in a few hours with James White, Dr. James White, into biology, microbiology, theory, cutting edge stuff. Then I'm actually on being interviewed on Tuesday on Caribou Heart TV. Then Wednesday, we've got Andy Lopez, the Invisible Gardener, who's actually I'm putting in touch with Tony because he's got some seeds from around the world from back in the 60s. And they're going to be working together. And then on Thursday, we have Opal on as well. And other than that, guys, that's it for me. You guys got anything coming up?
No, not right now, really. Everything's kind of slow. Just growing plants is all.
All right, brother.
Mhm.
All right, Dale.
Mhm.
We know what you got coming up. Everything.
Yeah, it seems like. And stick around for a bit offline here
Okay.
after the live. Okay, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,